Okay, we are good to go with Coach Barnes, so we'll use the raise hand function and we'll get started.
Morning.
Who wants to go first? Ryan Kelpier, go ahead.
So, other than beat ASU, obviously, what do you hope to accomplish in this last week of the regular season?
So the first thing, obviously, beat ASU. The second thing, or just finish off strong. That'll be the first thing. Our positioning is not going to change. Unfortunately, we couldn't win the title, but to be second, I think accomplishes a lot for us. The next thing is to just end the season on a positive note and with momentum going to the Pac12 tournament. So playing better basketball, being more confident, like clicking and just firing on all cylinders is important heading into next week.
And what do you expect to see from ASU? Obviously, the first game was not a good one for them, but usually these games are really close.
Yeah, I think they're better now than they were then. I think that it's really hard to play teams that have nothing to lose and that probably aren't going to be in the postseason. I think that those are the hardest teams, and we saw that on Friday against Cal. Because when you're have nothing to lose, you just play, you fight, you just kind of go for it, and it's there is no pressure. So I think for us, it's just not allowing that to happen. Staying in the game for 40 minutes, not relaxing, not overlooking, and just making sure we get better to accomplish our goals that are in the near future.
Jay Gonzalez?
Adia, after the Stanford game, you mentioned that you need to get the other players on the team, and I think you specifically maybe mentioned Sam and Kate and them to, they got to help. They got to help Aris. How do you get that message across? I mean, it seems like it's not a physical thing; it's more of a mental thing.
Well, yeah, and I think in some games it's hard. Stanford plays really good defense and they congest the paint. So teams that have done that, if we don't shoot the ball really well from the 3-point line, we don't loosen teams up. So I think that, us being more selective in the shots that we take, and not taking so many quick shots at 15 seconds. I think just moving the ball around, I think will enable other people to be more aggressive. But I think that Sam was a lot more aggressive. I think just second half, she just didn't hit shots. I think she was more aggressive than she had been, and we need that consistently. And then, I think just, we need a presence inside. And I think some of that was hard with fouls, or we had a tough time matching up defensively. So a little bit inconsistent in the rotations, but we got to have a post presence inside, because when Kate isn't scoring inside, that means Trinity and Lauren have to step up, or vice versa. So I think that we just have to do a better job overall, but we're capable of doing that.
ASU has had a tough year. What do you think is the issue over there? I mean, what do you see as a coach why are they having such a tough year?
I think it's personnel. I think if you look at their personnel, every other team has really a go-to player or a star. And I think, and ASU traditionally really hasn't had one go-to player. I think they've had some injuries, and I just think they have a tough time scoring. And, if you look at Tia Hansen, or if you've known her from the future or from the past, she wasn't like a scorer. I think she's turned into that, but I don't think she's innately a scorer. Mm-hmm. So when she's having to be their main scorer, I think it's challenging. But I think you need multiple weapons. Just like us, we don't do well when just Aris our scorer, and Aris an All-American. We do well when it's Aris, Sam, Kate, Trinity. We have four people in double digits in scoring. So I think it's one of those things, because they play aggressive defense.
Okay, thanks.
Kim Doss, go ahead.
Heading into the postseason and from Stanford, how much do you think length bothers your team on the opposing side?
It shouldn't, because I think when there's length, we should have an advantage outside. I think it's bothered us lately. I think one of the challenges is, honestly, if you look at our team, sometimes there's length, so that's one thing, and playing behind our post. But then I think that when we don't hit shots, it's length and congestion that bothers us. So I think that, if you look at Stanford, in some plays, it's Brink's sitting behind the post, but then it's on the perimeter, someone else sitting there too. So then as a post player, we're not going to be the biggest, strongest. So we have to use quickness and moves to go by people. There's really nowhere to go by. So I think sometimes it's hard. Like, let's say Kate faces up with Brink and tries to drive it. Well, there's a guard that's not guarding the perimeter sitting in the paint. So that's been a challenge. So then when that happens, you have to be able to shoot the ball to loosen people up. So then we have to be able to consistently, like if you saw this in, sometimes in Trinity, got like a short corner shot. We have to consistently hit those because the drives to the basket aren't there. Like, and we're not being guarded at the 3-point line. So we have to hit consistently 15-footers and threes, because then if the defense comes out, then you could drive by and you don't run right into the secondary defense. So I think that's just been a challenge for us. So being confident, because we're either really hot or cold. We were hot first half at Stanford, but that's not usually how we are. Usually we're like cold 1 for like 12, or we're like 10 for 14. So I think, and I, as a coach, like I think about that. I know what we need. So like the way that I try to get us better in that sense is we do skill every day, and skill is like shooting. So right now we're doing an hour a day, like 1-on-1 or 2-on-2 shooting. So they're getting like 300, 400, 500 shots a day. So, it's just being able to do it in the game situations and stepping up in those situations is now how we get to the next level, or else we're just going to be here. We're not going to go, to the Final Four or something like that unless we can do those things.
Troy Hutchison, go ahead.
So you mentioned playing a team like ASU that has nothing to lose is dangerous, but how dangerous is playing a team like ASU who's coming off of a loss against Cal, giving up their first victory of the season?
I mean, it's dangerous. I think it's a little bit more dangerous just because they have incentive, but I mean, we're a better team right now. Like, we should win the game. If we don't, then we're not doing what we need to do. I think that ASU is always good. I think a rival is always good, but there's certain games where you can lose them, but then you're not really that good. So I think for us, if we want to make noise in the tournament, if we want to be able to do those things, we have to be able to win the games we're supposed to. And I mean, we should win that game. We're supposed to. So I think that anybody can win on any given night in the Pac-12, no doubt. We respect ASU regardless. We respect everybody we play. And you also have to take it more seriously because it's a rival. So everybody steps up more for their rival. But it's like, if we have to be able to do the things we're supposed to do to be good.
And then have you put any thought this week that this might be the last week you get to coach the 3 seniors in a Pac-12 regular season game?
No, I haven't even thought about that. It's been, yeah, that's funny. It's funny because it doesn't feel like that right now. Like senior day didn't feel like senior day. It did a little bit. It's just different. But you're right. That's the last time in the regular Pac. I didn't think about that because we have the Pac-12 tournament, but that's true. So, it's sad because those are 3 great kids. Hopefully we'll get one of them back, or maybe 2 back. But yeah, it's tough.
PJ Brown, go ahead. PJ, I think you're muted.
Oh, I unmuted, it didn't unmute. Okay, sorry about that. Adia, you were talking about coming off this Stanford game, the things that you need to work on, and you're going back to the skill development, and there's a little bit of confidence in that. For you to sort of get over this little bump, is there a little different messaging or a little something that you might change up this week to sort of get everyone going in the same mindset and get them back to playing the way they typically play?
No, I won't change anything because I think that like big games, you got to step up. So I think that's not something I'm doing. I think you have to, big games, got to hit shots. And I think you got to take them to make them. So we run the offense, there's opportunities. And so there's nothing, like I can't go take the shots for people. So I think that they have to step up. I mean, this is the time of year in big games, that's when stars step up. And I think that, you can control your defense, you can control your effort, you can control those things. I think that you have to have confidence. There is no reason why you shouldn't be confident in the work that we put in. So we focus on that. Today is Wednesday, so Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we have skill work. And it's like we put time in that. I build in, it takes me like 5 hours a week to build in people's schedule. I have to look around tutoring, all this and that. Like me and our director of ops sit there, and I'm intentional about it because we need it. And I know they're kids; they're not going to go in and do it on their own. Some will, but like some won't. So I build it in. So you got to just go and do it. I mean, we're at the end of the season. We're not at the beginning. It's different if it's a freshman, but if it's an upperclassman, you got to go in and do it. And if you're not feeling confident, you got to go in extra on your own and do that. But I think that it just wasn't a great weekend for us. I'm not surprised that Cal got a win against ASU because they almost beat us. I mean, it is hard to play teams, have nothing to lose, just kind of go out and play. So I think for us, ending the season strong, getting a win on Sunday, and then moving on. And, we're in a good situation in the Pac12 tournament. We have a bye. So it's like one game at a time. We have nothing to lose either. We win it. We great. We don't, we have great seating. We've worked really hard to get to where we're at. And that's kind of the message I had even before the Stanford game. But I think that we can beat Stanford. I think that we showed we can defend them. I think we just have to hit shots. So, I think that it was just one of those games. I think we took some tough shots. And if you take low percentage shots, you're not going to convert. So I think there's just the message that I can help the team with is showing them on film the mistakes, showing the missed box out, which led to a 3, showing them the offensive rebound from not boxing out that led, I counted that was 8 of the, we lost by 14. 8 points were what I saw right away and just 3 mistakes. Going under the on ball, the first possession of the game is a 3. Those are mistakes that you can make against Cal, ASU, Colorado. You can't make those against the Stanfords, the UConns, Louisville, and win a game. So that's the teaching stuff that I have to show. But the other stuff, I mean, we put in the work, we do all the things, so we just have to do it. Unfortunately, I wish there was a magic button where I could say, oh, Bing, do it. It's kind of the way it is.
Ryan Killapere?
So you've talked about the need to make shots and defenses sagging off your guards. So, I mean, how much thought have you given to moving someone like Mara or Tara or Maddie into the rotation, maybe to help with the shooting?
Zero thought, because what we're doing is working. And I don't think that they're ready to come in and defend like we can defend. And so if you're going to hit shots and you're going to give up 15 points, so if you score 5, give up 15, we're negative. And we have a really good defensive lineup, so they will not move into the lineup. What we're doing is working. We're defending. I mean, Stanford's one of the best offensive teams in the country. We held them to 62 points. So I think that it's not that, but then I move in different lineups. So then we rely on people like Helena to come in, so she's got to be aggressive. And then I think that's where they can get opportunities. Maddie wasn't quite ready, not quite ready defensively. Can she hit shots? Yes, but if you're not ready to guard, then it doesn't matter if you can hit shots. And hitting them on that stage in a big high pressure game is very difficult. So I think where they get their opportunities is like this weekend possibly against ASU, going in, getting a few minutes. But for me to change the lineup and we've only lost 3 games the whole year and what we're doing is working, it doesn't make sense. I think it can just hurt more than it can help. But I think that getting people opportunities in games like this weekend, and honestly, I wanted to be able to do that against Cal, but the way the game was, I couldn't. So my intention was, okay, let's see, because we're looking for that next person behind Helena. Like if Helena is not having a great night, we don't know who that next person is. And I think, we have challenges playing Shayna, Bendu, and Ari together. And then defensively we don't, but offensively we do. So I think that finding that mixture or moving, if you saw against Stanford, we moved Bendu to the post a little bit and we switched things up. So doing creative things to try to manufacture the way they're defending us is what we're doing. But I think that, Mara, Tara can earn minutes. In the minutes they get, they can earn those. But I think every day you have an opportunity to earn them in practice. So I think it's just having the confidence as a coaching staff and coach to be able to put them in the games and pressure situations. And I think Maddie's someone down the stretch who can help us. I think Mara can defend, she can help us. But it's just, when you're given opportunity, that's why I always say there's no junk minutes. Because if you're giving 1 minute, that's a time. Like we gave Maddie a couple minutes in Cal to give her some experience. So those are the minutes where you earn it, but you earn it every day in practice also.
Jason Barr, go ahead.
Yeah, hi, Coach Adia. We've certainly asked you before what makes Aris so great. I think, though, when we do the story on her, she has so many awards and recognitions.
Yeah.
And I think we might like have it scroll top to bottom on the countless.
That'd be a long page, right?
But, and then have people talk about her, you know, while those are scrolling. That's kind of my vision for the story.
Uh-huh.
So what could you say about, obviously you talked about, you know, her skills, but when you see all of those awards, I know you don't play for awards, but what do the awards say about what she's accomplished or the team's accomplished or how good she is?
I think it says a lot for both. I think it says a lot for how she's been able to help this team accomplish success. You know, she came here a leap of faith. We weren't good, and no one, and Ari wasn't that good. Ari was a good player. She wasn't a great player. And I think for her, she came to a different role here at Arizona and was put in a situation to be very successful and has done the hard work to fulfill that role. So I think her becoming All-American, I don't even know if anybody would thought she'd come to Arizona and be an All-American. But I think you don't get those things unless your team wins. And I think she's helped this team and this program win. And I think it's helped her even get more recognition. And she deserves everything she's gotten because she's put in work and she plays with such passion on both ends of the floor, which makes her special. So I'm not surprised by a lot of awards. I think she's going to win a lot this year and she deserves it. And I think just that she's one of the people that has put Arizona on her back and helped us be successful. So she's left an imprint here.
And her defense in particular, I mean, it's got to be tough for the opposing point guard every single game. What is it about her defense that's just so relentless?
She's she has really good anticipation for the ball. She has a knack for the ball and anticipates people's next moves really well. So she'll gamble. Like Ari gambles a lot. So if you're talking about being in the right position, Ari's not in the right position a lot. But she's so fast and gifted that she can be in the wrong position. She can reach and then she can go get a steal. Most players can't. So some of it is her God-given talent. But without her mentality and desire, she would not be a great defensive player. She wants to play defense. Most stars, most people that score a lot, they don't play good defense because they don't want to. They want to save their energy for offense. She plays as hard on offense as she does on defense. And I think that's what makes her special. If you look historically throughout the great players in the country, they're usually not good on both ends of the floor. It's very rare. They're usually a stellar defensive player or a stellar scorer. They're not usually good at both. So I think that's what separates her, makes her unique. If you look at the way we play, she presses for like about 37 minutes. And to play at her pace on offense and to press all game on defense, I don't know how she does it sometimes. Sometimes I'm like, do you want a little bit more rest? She's like, no, I'm good. And I'm thinking like, I would die. But it's what she does. And she takes pride in it. So I think the other thing is, if she's off on offense, like Stanford, she was off. She took some quick shots. It wasn't her day. It wasn't her night. But then she still plays her heart on defense, so she's still valuable on the floor. So it's not like there's other players that are good that are cold on offense. You sit them because they're not doing anything else. But she still impacts the game on defense. So A, you can live with some of her bad shots. And B, she's going to still give you all her heart and play great defense. So it's still hard to take her off the floor. So I think, those are some things that, make a difference.
Terrific. Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Rich Herrera, go ahead.
Good morning, Coach. How are you?
Morning. How are you?
Good. Couple things. Let's talk about emotions. Obviously, disappointment after the Stanford game, but how do you manage your emotions and how you convey those emotions to the team?
I manage my emotions because it is what it is. It's like I think of the good things. So yes, was I upset that we lost after the game? For sure, because I think there were so many things that we could have done to win the game. I really do. And I think we improved so much from the last time we played them. But obviously there's disappointment because I understand as an adult, I understand how hard it is to be in that situation and how you have a championship at your grasp. And that's not easy every year to be in that situation. We hadn't been there in 17 years. So I understand that. I think some of the players don't even understand the magnitude of that. But you don't get too high or too low because it's done. We can't do anything about it. We lost. So I think for me, the next thing is like the next thing. Like I always say, next play, next time. Like you don't get too high and too low. So the next thing is beating ASU. If we hang our heads on Stanford, we won't beat ASU. So beating ASU. And then the next thing for us is going and trying to win the Pac12 tournament. So I think that we have to narrow our focus. It's one game at a time. We don't look ahead. You don't get too high, too low. You can't in basketball because you're not going to win every game. But now it's about getting our team to play our best and peaking at the right time. And that's what we have to do to win.
So let's move on to Arizona State. Obviously, it's the big rival coming off the football game this year and their little billboard up on I-10. What's this rivalry mean to you, and how important is it to your team?
Wait, what billboard? I didn't see this.
Oh,
Is it bad?
they put it up a couple months ago, the billboard with the football score from last year.
Oh, so will we see that? We should see that on the way of the game, right?
I don't know if it's still up there or not, but
I hope
yeah,
it is. Okay, well,
that'd be a nice motivation. But the whole rivalry thing, how serious does your team take it? How serious do you take it?
I take it seriously. I think I take it seriously because me as a professional, I don't get into that stuff. I don't say, the scum devils, or I don't get into that stuff. And I think that, they do. So, I just, like Michelle Obama says, when they go high, and when they go low, we go high. So I don't engage in certain stuff, but it is a rival. It is a really big deal. I think for us, it would say a lot winning this, because for us in men's basketball to be 4-0 against them, I think says a lot about our programs, because when I took the job, we hadn't beaten them in a while. So I think the tables are turned now. I think, we're the more dominant program in the state. So I think that, winning would just kind of seal the deal on that. But it is a rival. We are going to be pumped up for it. They are pumped up. There's always a lot of stuff on social media, like, calling us the kitty and all that stuff. But it should be motivation. And we're motivated. And we want to win. And we want to end our season off the way we should.
Great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Kim Doss, go ahead.
About the Pac12 tournament, when they made the changes to first it was going to be Thursday through Sunday, then they went back to Wednesday or Sunday with the day off on Saturday. Do you know how that happened, and how'd you feel about it? And were you aware? I mean, how far in advance were you aware?
Well, we voted on it. So it's funny because when we voted on it, I thought the head coaches determined that. I didn't know. We didn't have that much power. So we voted on it in our Pac-12 call last week. But the executive committee, the SWAs, they actually make the final decision. I thought it was done when we voted on 12-0 because all the coaches wanted it. So how it was explained to us was most conferences have a day in between. We were going back to back to back, which is tough. And so we all agreed that having that Saturday off before the championship game was a benefit. There was other factors too. The men were talking about moving their tournament. So if we wouldn't have moved it, there was a potential on the championship game to overlap and to not get TV. Or I think it might have been the semifinals. Semifinals or the final. I think semifinals wouldn't have been on TV. They would have been on regional, not national, or something on television. So that didn't sound attractive to any of us. And so moving it, despite what the men were doing, it was going to be better for our league, and the rest was better for all of us. We all benefit. On top of that, with the Saturday and Sunday, on the Saturday we can make up, I think it was four makeup games. So with the Saturday and Sunday, it's a total of making up 6. So that also helps our conference because it helps more teams get into the tournament. So it was just a benefit overall. I like that. So I was all for it.
PJ Brown.
So, you're in this spot now. You're most likely going to finish second in the league. You're talking about winning a tournament title, Pac-12 tournament title. Last week you talked about winning out, all these kind of things. You've never talked like this. You haven't been in this position. I know at the beginning of the year you said, we've talked about how you didn't quite know that in the beginning that you would be here. When did you start feeling it that this would be a possibility of a very special season, that you would have a chance to finish first in the conference or finish second and have this possibility of going for the title in the tournaments, things that you haven't done?
Yeah, I didn't really know in the beginning. I knew we'd be competitive. I knew we'd have a chance, but I didn't really know. Then we had that reality check by Stanford early. So then that was kind of like, ooh, a reality check. We're not there yet. But then I think the win against UCLA, the convincing wins against Oregon State, going up to mountains and sweeping, then I thought we have a chance to be special. But I didn't really think ahead too much. Like, I know that sounds crazy, but I just thought more one game at a time because, you have to learn your team too. And there's so much adversity. It's hard. So I think for me, I didn't look too much about like, okay, are we going to win the conference? It was like, okay, if we take care of business, we win these. I would look in like segments like, okay, we need to go try to get a sweep this weekend. We need to try to sweep these games at home. So I looked more in that sense. The most disappointing loss for me, obviously, this year was at Washington State. I thought we gave that away. So then the thing mentally I was thinking was, how are we going to respond from that? Like, what's our team made of? And so I think all those things let me understand that we can be pretty good because the way we responded after some adversity or a game getting canceled, not playing for weeks, then responding. But, I wasn't sure. I knew we were good. I just didn't know how good. Sometimes we were ranked really high. I was like, okay, we're good. I don't think we're number 6 good right now. Stuff like that. But I think now, we're not playing that way now. We're playing good, but we're not playing great. But I think that we're going to play really good this weekend. And I think we're confident. I think we realize we can play with anybody. We know Stanford's good, but I think we also feel we can beat them. So I think that we're in a good place. Unfortunately, we didn't win the Pac-12 title, but I think they're a little bit better than we are right now. Not good or bad. They're a little bit more experienced. They have more size inside. They have some more weapons. Doesn't mean we can't beat them, but they're a good team. And I think they're going to be really successful. And, they're a top 4 team in the country. I think they can go to the Final Four. So I think for us, it's doing what we can do. I think we're going to be set up in a situation where we're going to have a good seed and we're going to have, favorable matchups early in the tournament too. So we have a good opportunity to do some special things, but there are some small things that we have to work on to get better. I mean, just like Stanford talking to Tara after, she didn't, think they played well either. We both could play better. But I think, we are getting better. I mean, if you look at us from a month ago, we're a better team, offensively and defensively. So still a ways to go.
Any other questions for Coach? All right, thank you, Coach.
Now I'm going to look for that billboard on my way. I always look for motivation. It's really easy to find motivation. I used to have to stay on the internet for 10 minutes. I can find motivation every game. All right, guys. Have a good week.
Have a good one, Adia.
Okay, bye.
Okay, we'll start with questions for Sam. Troy, go ahead.
So Sam, this week is going to be the last regular season game for you and 2 other seniors. Have you put any thought into your coming near the end of your time here at Arizona?
I don't think we put in too much thought just because we know there's hopefully still a lot of basketball left to play for us for the rest of the season. But it is, as you said, the last regular season game. And of course, it's against our rival school. So just going to go out and play as hard as we can.
And then with playing ASU, you guys have a chance to sweep them in back-to-back years. How much does that mean for you for when you first came in, when Arizona State was beating you guys, and now here you are about to sweep them possibly in back-to-back seasons?
Yeah, it definitely means a lot. It always feels good to get a sweep, but also when it's against your rival school. And then from the growth that we've had from, obviously, like you said, my freshman year, it would definitely feel amazing to be able to end this season out with a sweep.
PJ Brown.
Hi, Sam. I know from the beginning of the season, you guys have had that feeling that this was going to be a really special year for you and you'd make a long postseason run and all of that. But when during the season did you start actually feeling it? Not just in your head and in your heart, maybe knowing that that's what you wanted to do, that's what you set out to do. But when did you start thinking, this is really happening?
I think maybe like preseason. I mean, we were obviously with COVID, we never knew what was going to happen. So I think we kind of just wanted to take each game one by one and play the best that we could. Obviously, some games we didn't play as well as we wanted to, but I think we just tried not to take any game for granted. And so every game we try and play like it's our last. So, I mean, I think just like in that sense, we kind of knew like we have to win these games in order to make it far. But I think just with COVID and everything, it's kind of hard to focus on like how long our season can be because we never were really sure how long it could be. We don't even know now if we could have the tournament or not. So I think just focusing on one game at a time, just like playing it's like it's our last.
And is that your sort of your, so that's sort of been a lot of your motivation. It's just that each game, if you get to play it, could be the last game that you get to play this season. And you're just going out, Sam Thomas, and playing and leaving it on the floor.
Yeah, definitely. I think that was kind of all of our thoughts before the season, but then obviously after we had, I think it was like 2 weeks where we didn't have a game. I think that kind of put it all into perspective of we really have to not take any game for granted and play like it's our last.
Is there anything else for Sam?
Yeah, I'll do one more if that's
Go ahead.
okay before Brian. And so what are the things that you think that you guys need to work on before? I mean, I know we have Sunday's game against ASU, and that's really what you're focusing on. But to start to be able to beat the Stanfords, because that's sort of your next goal. So to sort of start putting it together a little bit more, what do you think you guys need to do?
I think just put together 40 minutes of great basketball. I feel like sometimes we get in lags where we either can't score or we can't get a stop. And so I think we really have to focus on getting those scores for us and then being able to convert on defense and not get a stop. So we're not trading baskets or not getting baskets at all for ourselves.
Okay, thanks.
Okay.
And what do you guys have to do to not maybe not you specifically, but as a team get people more involved other than Aris? Because it seems like the last 2 games she's taken, I mean, she's averaged like 23 shots a game.
Mm-hmm. I think, I mean, we have the players. I think our confidence is there. We just have to find that the right movement, the right motion. I think sometimes we work on our defense a lot. So then we're all thinking defense and we're all like, we have to get a stop. So we're not focused about our offense. We're just thinking like defense. So then we just get stuck like ball watching or just staying there. So I think we just have to come together as a team and just trust each other and just try and get the ball moving like we had some games and just try and get other people to take some shots.
Is that something you're aware of during the game that, oh, Aris taken this many shots and we need other people to shoot, or is it just kind of the game just goes as it is?
Yeah, I think the game just goes as it is. Sometimes we realize that we've had too quick of an offense. Maybe we need to run it more into the shot clock, but I don't think we're really focused on like who's taking the shots. It's more of like when we're taking the shots that we kind of more realize.
Anything else? All right, thanks everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sam.